you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
Welcome back to Common Folk.
That's right. Podcast for the people, by the people.
Let's see if I can get this phone call going here because we had a couple technical difficulties trying to get into this time slot.
I failed, guys.
Let's see Hey, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me all right? I'm using my hearing aids, so.
Yeah, we're good. I'm going to turn you up a little bit here. So I've got you live on the podcast. Hopefully the phone stays connected. If it starts cutting out, let me know. We've got out here at the farm. You've been here, kind of a crappy connection and stuff. Yeah. So we got Travis Linden here from Freedom Farms in Missouri. If folks go back, I know, Andy, you went back and checked. How long ago was that last episode?
It was a while ago, like 4 years ago. Does that sound about right, Travis? 3 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
At that time I was stationed in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That
right.
premiered July 26th, 2022. And it was a long one.
Yep.
It was well over an hour. So, yeah, but we had you and Chrissy in on that.
What do we have that titled?
Drill Sergeant Turned Farmer. Meet Travis Linden of Freedom Farms.
So for the folks who want to go back and get up to speed on Travis and his operation, his background, his family, check that out. Because we talked pretty extensively in that, but we're going to talk about a little bit of something different today. Travis, to kick it off just real quick, just to remind folks, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Travis Linden. My wife and I founded Freedom Farms here in South Central Missouri in 2017. And at the time, I was still a drill sergeant. I'm out of that role, obviously. You can only be a drill sergeant for so long, but I'm about to transition out of the Army. As a matter of fact, I retire with 20 years of active duty service in August of this year of 2026.
Congrats.
And so the transition has been, a little bit of a difference because it's, in the Army, everything's clockwork every day, 6:30 PT, whereas, on the farm, you can wake up, animals are all out, you can wake up and everything's going smooth. It's just, you never know what you're getting.
Right. So how long have you guys, what did you say, how long have you guys been doing the farm?
2017 is when we started, and we started with just 3 sheep and 10 acres. And in that time, we've grown from those 3 sheep and 10 acres to over 200 sheep and 10 cows, 117 acres of our own. And then we also do custom it kind of fluctuates from year to year, but generally around 300 to 400 acres of custom work, whether it's, fertilizer application, bush hogging, cutting hay, is, kind of anything that you can get hired for, essentially.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I didn't realize you guys have grown that much. That's great.
Yeah, it's been a ride. So
we've had the Freedom Farms brand on the Farm Focused website for a few years now. It's been a while since pretty close to when you guys started. Your first YouTube hit started going off with Millennial Farmer. I think that's how it went down, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Zach. We had talked to Zach, and he'd given us a shout out on his channel. And then before you know it, we had people asking about shirts because we'd sent one to Zach, and we don't have the capacity to make more than probably 2 or 3 a week.
Right.
And so Zach recommended you guys and said, yeah, you should reach out to Ben and Morgan. They could definitely help you out with that. So kind of what we did and never looked back.
I've got a couple things on merchandise, but one thing I wanted to touch on first was, so obviously you guys are on YouTube. Folks can go on there and follow you, watch the videos, see what you guys are doing. But one of the things I love about what you guys are doing is, I don't know the best way to put it, but it's like you guys, the equipment that you guys use and the operation that you guys use, the way you guys do things, you just make things work. And a lot of the stuff that you use is kind of more old school stuff because it still works. It's great. There's no need for this new whatever it is, whether it be a pickup truck or a tractor or an implement.
Don't need to download the app.
Right. What's been your what's kind of been your direction there? Like what is that about? Why you guys choose that particular type of machinery?
So in general, we started with Alice Chalmers because in all like just full disclosure, my grandpa, they had 5 acres. They didn't have a farm, but they had 5 acres out in the country in Illinois. But they were, of course, surrounded by, fields. And so, like, I was always riding on, when farmers nearby were disking or planting or harvesting, I'd always be sitting there at the end of the field, and 95% of the time, unless they were trying to beat rain or something like that, they'd let me hop in and ride with them a couple of laps. Well, I never dreamed that I'd actually have my own farm, but I did always say that when I did, I was going to have Alice Chalmers tractors, because that's what Grandpa had. He had a WD, and all they used it for was just plowing the driveway. They used it to, they used it to plow the garden, I guess, too, and just the garden, but they eventually kind of stopped doing that and just used a tiller because it was just more efficient. But that's kind of where the equipment side started. But in our case, when we were starting out, everybody always says that you can't get into farming.
Right.
And you absolutely can. But it's not going to be as simple as just like, yeah, I'm going to go buy $300,000 worth of equipment, another $1 million worth of land, and I'm going to start farming full time today. It's just not going to work like that. You're going to have a job off the farm, and most likely your wife will too, and you may have to continue those jobs off the farm for several years. Like in my case, because I'm going to retire from the Army and I will get a small pension from them, that's going to allow me to have the stability of a constant income. So if we have a drought this year and we don't have hardly any hay to sell, we'll still carry through, but it's not going to be easy. And so like having payments and stuff like that on equipment isn't simple. So we've always bought old equipment, fixed it, used it, and then when we outgrew it, we sold it, bought something else to fix and kind of continue that. Well, now we've gotten to the point where the tractors are the sizes that we need, and now we'd like to add a third tractor. We have 2, but we use an Alice Chalmers 7000 and an Alice Chalmers 8030. And all that custom work that I was telling you about at the beginning, the reason it's grown so much is because in Texas County, Missouri, auto steer is a cuss word. If you see, most of the farmers around us are generational farmers that have been doing this for 5-6 years, and they don't use auto steer. If you can't drive the tractor, like that's the first time they saw it, they're like, well, if you can't drive the tractor, why do you have it? It's not the fact that I can't drive it. It's the simple fact that it's not like Illinois where the ground's flat as can be, and I can see the other side of the field and make a straight pass.
Mm-hmm.
You're going up a hill, and then when you get up the hill, then you have to adjust because you're probably off on where you're trying to be, and you have to move over again. But the other thing is that if I'm focused so much on driving the tractor, I can't pay attention to the implement. I can't pay attention to the tractor itself if something's going wrong with them. You're just so focused on staying on your path and not wasting a swath of it. And that's kind of what led us to the idea that, yeah, auto steer seems cool, and it is. I'm not saying it's not, but realistically, the efficiency part of it is what really drives it home. We've made some videos on YouTube that show how, just spreading fertilizer in a 5-acre field. So like we had one we did with GPS guidance, one we did with auto steer, and one we did with freehand. And so the GPS guidance, obviously, we're watching the light bar. The auto steer's not engaged. We're doing it on our own. We overlapped like 0.3 acres, I think it was. I'd have to go back to watch the video, but pretty minimal overlap with GPS guidance. With auto steer, we overlapped less than 0.1 acres and 5 acres. And then with freehand, we overlapped almost a full acre after doing 2 practice runs, kind of getting an idea how far apart we need to be.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
In 5 acres. Yeah, so like that's 20% overlap right there. And so if you max, now let's say that we're doing our full 100 acres. Well, the price of fertilizer, I just paid for an auto steer system. Literally in one swath. And I get it. You're not wasting fertilizer, but you are, because you can only use so much of it at a time. Man,
and we had, I don't know if you listened to our episode the last previous weeks, but we interviewed a lady from Iowa who, they're going through this nitrogen in their water crisis. And when it comes down to it, man, every little bit of that you can save is beneficial for the pocketbook, but also just for, the whole system.
Well, and, a farmer should be a good steward anyway. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, just like with our livestock, you'll get those, the animal rights activists that get on there all the time. And they'll be like, oh, it's abuse and everything else. Like, how's it abuse? I provide them food, water, shelter, medical, any sort of medical care they need. I will do everything I can to keep them healthy and happy, because the better, we treat our livestock like employees. The better their working conditions, the better product they produce. In this case, is lambs, right? Yeah. So if they can produce twins or triplets all the time instead of singles, that's way better for me at the bottom line, because I'm spending the same amount of money, yet I'm getting twice the return.
Sure.
I don't think people look at that stuff.
No, I saw the video with that auto steer. I thought that was pretty cool. What model was that tractor?
Oh, that's a Alice Chalmers 7000. It's literally a 50-year-old tractor. It was made in 1976.
That's what I was going to say. I was just looking online here. That's a 75 to 79 model year, 117 horsepower, no cab.
Yep.
And you adapted an auto steer system to it, and it's just out there driving around in the field by itself. He's not even sitting in the seat.
That's wild.
He's just videoing it.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, so quick disclosure on that, right? Number one, that is not safe, and I don't recommend folks doing that. Because you can't stop those tractors. You have to run to get back on them. So first and foremost, safety, right?
I want to see that video.
We did that mainly because, like, every time, like, people be like, oh, it's fake, it's AI, it's this, it's that.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I don't know how to prove it to you. So, like, I finally got the idea. I was like, like the fertilizer buggy where we were spreading, it was actually for a neighbor. And I was like, this fertilizer buggy, no matter how fast I go, it doesn't matter. I can go slow as possible, and it's ground driven as far as feeding the amount of fertilizer that's going to come out. So I was like, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to put it in second gear in low range and let it go at like 2 miles an hour. So it's easy for me to go back up there, get back on it, safe, and let it do its turn even. Because the new one we have is it's a Viverkin F100. We've had Trimble auto steers, the easy steer system that's got the little motor on it, but it's kind of inconvenient because that motor blocks all of my gauges. It worked, but I was like, we were just to do something. That way, if I have somebody running the tractor that's not me, they can at least see the warning lights, see something wrong, and stop the tractor, hopefully, not blow it up. And so that was kind of our thought there. Well, this Viverkin one, it'll turn around on its own, completely on its own, as you've seen in the video. And you could literally start it on one end of the field. Like, let's say you have a 50-acre field. It'll literally start to finish, go back and forth, turn around on the ends. Now it won't turn the PTO off. It won't, raise an implement if you had to do any of that stuff, because those tractors don't have ISOBUS. But if you had a newer one that had ISOBUS, you can plug in, it'll do all that stuff for you too.
Oh, that's just fantastic, because you're using older machinery that's very reliable. You could even make the argument more reliable than modern day equipment, but then you're adding new technology to up your efficiency. You're just seeing a path there. You're laying out a path on YouTube for a lot of folks. I think that, okay, we can use this old reliable equipment, but bring it into the 21st century and use modern day technology alongside of it. And Ben, you hit the nail on the head there, Ben. You're not wasting fertilizer. You're maximizing each and every dollar and acre, and you're also being a good steward of the land as well.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, and if you look at it, what's changed in tractors? I may get it. They get more and more horsepower, more and more remotes.
They're more expensive.
Those are well, that too. But overall, the only thing that's changed is the technology that's been added to them. So like, hey, they've got instead of being a mechanical valve body like our remotes are, where there's a rod. When I pull a lever, there's a rod that moves and actually is going to do the action on the valve. The newer ones are electronic, which is, I get it. It's got its benefits, of course, and you can add those even to the old tractors also. Mm-hmm. But realistically, the only thing that's changed is the technology. You've got a tractor that has, no auto steer capability at all from the factory that you can implement, and now you've taken that tractor from being a 1976 to being a 2020, 2025, somewhere in there, right? I get it. It's not going to have all the exact same features that a new one will, but it's pretty close, and the efficiency is what I'm aiming for. That open station that you've seen, I love running that 7000.
Yeah,
I get it. It's like there's some videos when it's like I think it was like 97 degrees last summer when we were cutting hay with it, and like I keep a gallon of water with me on there, and usually I freeze it the night before. Well, an hour or so in, it's obviously thawed out. Well, 2 or 3 hours into cutting hay, now that water went from being frozen to now it's about 90 degrees. But when I was deployed, I drank water that's hot as that. We used to bury our water bottles in Afghanistan to have cold water, and then we'd dig them back up so they'd cool them off a little bit.
Wow, because the dirt was colder than the air.
Oh yeah,
or the sand, I guess.
You couldn't. Yeah, and there's no refrigerator. You're just going to go and grab a bottle of water out of or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so that stuff doesn't bother me, and I get it. That's not everybody's not going to want to drink 95-degree water, and I understand that. But another fun fact for it is that the warmer that water is, the quicker your body can absorb it. It doesn't have to be warmed up in order for your body to take that water in to replenish anything that you sweated out.
Yep. See, that's why I don't use ice.
Oh, shut up. I love ice.
I drink it right out of the tap, even in the house. I don't grab ice out of the
Oh, my gosh, Travis. Stop. So does Ben.
Morgan,
God.
switch to the dark side, Morgan.
No.
You're going to like it a lot better.
No.
There are a lot of health videos talking about drinking room temperature or body temperature water.
I get it, guys. But come on, who doesn't like a crisp ice water?
I'm on board.
Okay.
I do too, yes.
Come on.
So let's get into what we're here today to talk about. I know you're got a tight timeline, Travis. We want to respect that. So back to the merchandise thing. Let's just get into it. So John Deere out there has done things in the industry. Some things people agree with, some things people disagree with. They've been a very polarizing brand for sure. I mean,
they really have been last decade or so. Big time.
That's kind of putting it lightly. I mean, if you rewind to when we were kids, you look at that brand, it's iconic.
Yeah.
You want to be a part of it. You want one of the tractors.
Mm-hmm.
You want one of the lawn tractors even, I mean,
sure.
It's got such a storied history, and it's it's great. It's Americana, right? But over the last 10, 15 years, whatever it is, so many things have changed with the fight that they're having with right to repair, and just the price, what's happened with prices of stuff, and
moving manufacturing, moving just the corporate offices out of Iowa.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in regards to moving manufacturing. Not too long ago, Travis, you had contacted us because obviously we do merchandise for you, and you said, "Hey, I want a new design in regards to that." So tell us a little bit about the Juan Deere design.
Well, as you may imagine, John Deere influenced that idea, moving some of their manufacturing operation to Mexico. And first and foremost, right, I don't have anything against any other country. But the difference is that I've fought for this one for over 20 years in active duty Army service.
Yeah.
And so, needless to say, I'm a little attached to this country and along with the citizens. And I get it that they're trying to make a bottom dollar, right? Completely understand that. However, there's better ways to do it, right? Efficiency, like we've talked about with the tractors, adding some technology sometimes is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not, but oftentimes that'll be the solution to your problem. Well, they've taken it from, no, we're still going to hire people, but we're going to spend, I don't know how much they spend exactly, but I'm sure it's hundreds of millions of dollars between closing the factory in Iowa, moving that manufacturing process to Mexico, and then hiring more workers there, training them, etc. Like, all that takes time and money. None of it is productive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a pause of, let's say, I don't know how long it took them to build it exactly, but we'll just say a year, right? So if you got a year time span that you're not building that product, right, that's going to hurt your bottom line. Then you've got probably another 2 to 3 months of training those folks once that facility is built so they can actually go through the motions and learn it. And then you've got, the first few, let's say, 100 tractors or whatever it is that they're making coming off the line are probably going to be scrutinized a little more because they need to go through and make sure everybody did their job right and make sure everything is flowing as it should. So in that grand scheme of things, what's John Deere saving? A couple of pennies, or maybe they're not saving anything for the first 5 or 10 years, and then they're looking at the long term and they're like, oh, well, in 20 years, this is going to save us $1 million versus just leaving things alone and continuing to build them.
Well, invest
John
in
Deere,
your people
like you said,
in Iowa. You're not investing in your people that got you there either.
No, and like you mentioned, John Deere was it's an Americana brand.
Yeah.
So you see an old 4020 and you're like, oh, that's a pretty cool tractor, right? I don't have any John Deere equipment. But I can respect an old 4020 and stuff like that, or a 6030, like those are pretty cool tractors.
Yeah.
But that was a very different era that they were making them in, and now they've changed it up completely, and they're like, you know what, we don't care about any of that stuff. We know that we started here, like I mentioned before about their shirts. Their shirts will all say Waterloo, Iowa, or Moline, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, look at the tag on that shirt. It's going to say China or Taiwan or Ecuador. It's going to say anything other than the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And so just a simple thing like that. It doesn't even take I don't know how many employees you exactly have, but you're not employing hundreds and hundreds of people to make a shirt. It's a relatively simple process that you can train, say, 5 people to manage well and run. I don't know how many shirts exactly, but I'm sure several thousand probably in a week, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like you guys would probably have it down to a science like that if that's your business. I mean,
right.
I don't see how John Deere can't do that and how they wouldn't want to spend the time and effort on that at a minimum.
Yeah.
They say that they have a workforce shortage, but like you were saying too, is it the way they're treating their employees? Because if you treat me like I'm throwaway, why would I stay? Why would I want to be part of this?
Yeah, and
it's
kind of almost a tough word, but I don't know how you best explain it, because you're basically exploiting people when you're saying, well, we want people to do this job, but we want to pay them less. We think less of their job, less of their work, so we're going to move it from the United States and invest less in people, exploit people in a different country. So right there is like, man, that's a tough card to kind of dance around. You're like, no, we love America. We love the people that got us here. We love Iowa. But we want to exploit these people over here because we think they're worth less than the people of Iowa. And also, our bottom dollar, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough one.
There's no doubt that, like, the math, it has to make sense for them or else they wouldn't do it, right? So it's in the pursuit of making more money.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Period. Yeah. I mean, we talk about that a lot.
But for sure.
God, just piss on the people in Illinois and Iowa.
Right. No, I mean, companies, yeah, of course, they got to make money. They got to do the kinds of things. But sometimes, man, like, making the right decision, even though it might cost you a little bit of money, goes a long way.
Okay, but let me ask you guys this, since I'm a little bit removed. I mean, you guys keep talking about 10 to 15 years. It's kind of been changed. Does that mean like someone up top came in new and decided to change how things, or are they just trying to keep up with the times? Or like, are we talking about like head corporate people?
Well, global manufacturing has been a thing for a long time. Like, actually, if you look at their history, 1912 is when John Deere first started making stuff outside of the United States. So over 100 years ago, they started doing this. Yeah. And now I don't know what their intent wasn't there, obviously. But again, it would lean you towards the idea of, hey, there's a way for us to make money. Now, maybe it was because of shipping. Transportation and logistics has changed dramatically in 100 years. So now it's not impossible for me to buy a vehicle or a tractor from, let's say Europe, right, and have it shipped here.
Yeah.
Pretty simple process. It happens all the time. But I'm sure back in the 1900s, the early 1900s, that wasn't a simple thing. And somebody was like, you want to do what now?
True.
So that one I can understand a little more. But now with global logistics, I can't get behind it and I can't understand it. And, the other thing is that your headquarters here is in the United States. And if you wanted to say, let's say they're saving $1 million a year by moving to Mexico for manufacturing, right? That CEO, according to Google, is making approximately $27.93 million in 2025.
Jeez.
Yeah, and he didn't want to live in Iowa.
But no.
He wanted to live
in
New York.
He didn't want that nitrogen water.
Damn. Coming in hot.
And, and I'm not saying the guy is not worth it. Maybe he does really great at leading the company in the right direction. Yeah. I don't know.
But he could probably forgo $1 million.
That's what I was about to say. I feel like, because, leadership doesn't mean having the right answer. Sometimes it means working together to get to the right answer. And other times it means sacrificing for the people you're leading.
Yeah.
I know that sounds very military-like, but I don't think it would hurt John Deere or any CEO to look at that and be like, you know what, I'm making $30 million a year. And in the grand scheme of things, I go to a lot of meetings. I go and talk to a lot of people, but is my work really that hard? And all my travel is paid for by the company.
Right.
It's not like I'm spending, let's say $1 million a year traveling around for my job. John Deere's footing the bill for that.
Absolutely.
Whether it's rental cars, flights, everything. And so again, there's simpler solutions, but you have people at the top that don't want to give a little in order to say, you know what? Hey, I'm making $28 million a year almost. Why don't I take a $5 million pay cut? And why don't we make this right with our employees? That way they can see that not only are they being backed up by the leadership above, but they can see that leadership above is willing to sacrifice and invest a little bit in those employee bases versus saying, you know what, pull the plug on them guys. I feel like I can win these guys over in Mexico a little easier, and I'll throw $10 an hour at them, and I'll make huge profits. I'll look like a hero to the board, but I'm going to sacrifice everybody to the wolves.
Yep. So that particular shirt, so you do this shirt design, Juan Deere. It's a play, obviously, on John Deere stuff. Go ahead and go with the kicking donkey rather than the jumping deer.
So that's a burro.
The burro.
I don't know.
Isn't a burro like a?
I was wondering if somebody was going to say that. Right? Donkeys are also oftentimes called jackasses and stubborn, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the philosophy behind it. John Deere is being stubborn and saying like, nope, bottom dollar. I don't care about John Smith in Iowa. I care about the almighty dollar, right? And so that's kind of the jackassery I was talking about, where there's easy solutions. There's ways to save money and put it back into the company.
Right.
But that's the idea behind it, and it's nothing like John Deere. So the deer that they're talking about is jumping, as if it was jumping a fence,
right.
etc. Right. The deer clearly is running, moving forward, whereas the donkey in this case is stopping, kicking, saying, "No, we're not doing that. We're doing shit my way."
Yeah,
kicking back.
Yeah.
So let's put all this into perspective. So you've got this design. You're on the Farm Focus website. We're selling merchandise. You're on YouTube, Freedom Farms MO.
Yep.
You've got almost 17,000 subscribers on YouTube. The amount of people that this is getting to is relatively low, right? I mean, there's not a lot of people seeing this. We at Farm Focused produce and sell these shirts, right? We've sold a handful of these. Also, by the way, just so folks know, every single item that we ship out of here that has some kind of Freedom Farms design on it is a T-shirt or a sweatshirt or whatever it is that was truly manufactured in the U.S. It will tell you on the tag, made in the USA. That's one of the only ones on our website that do that. So you've got that. We're not hitting a lot of people. There's a handful of things going out. It's just kind of fun. Then you fast forward to this past week and why we're on this call here, and we receive a cease and desist letter from John Deere for a couple of things on the website. One thing that had nothing to do with you that I could see them make the case, pictures of the tractors, those types of things. We agree to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is. They're like, you can't use the pictures of our tractors. Okay. Which is kind of, that's a whole nother thing. It's kind of weird. You've got farmers love these things, man. They love tractors. All it is just making more notoriety for their brand, but whatever. They need
it brings you back to your original point of their Americana.
Yeah, right.
They're just a staple in that agriculture environment.
Yeah, they want their piece. And also, by the way, from a brand, a company, like us, Farm Focused, we have a trademark. We don't want people using our stuff. We get it. But look, man, I can't tell you how many times I've run into somebody running two backwards, a backwards F logo.
Yeah.
How about Fleet Farm?
I
right?
see it.
Can I go make Fleet Farm quit?
Right.
No, because it's not the same thing. In the end.
Yeah.
No.
What it comes down to is who's got the most money on what side of the fight, and we'll get into that. But so we get this cease and desist, and it's in particular part of this is for the Juan Deere shirt. So I'm just going to tell you real quick a couple of quick things it says here. It says we're concerned about the totality of the design, including the green and yellow color, the containing shape, the jumping animal, the font copying the leaping deer logo type, and the name of the product itself are clearly intended to bring Deere & Company's famous leaping deer logo to the minds of consumers. So that's if something brings something to your mind, that's an infringement.
And that's also, isn't that why you marketed it in the first place? Why you built that?
Yeah,
it's like serving the purpose for you.
Yeah. So going on, it says
by that logic, right? If I look out in my yard right now, we have some dandelions right here around our flagpole. That right there is green and yellow.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
yeah.
Does Deere own the dandelion now? Like, do they send them a cease and desist too? I mean, how does that work?
So it says your use and modification of Deere & Company's trademarks and copyright protected material are unauthorized and constitute trademark and copyright infringement, to which we object. blah blah blah. They don't like what they call the modifications to the leaping deer logo. It's detrimental to the public's understanding of their mark. It dilutes their mark. They object to the use. They want it taken down.
I mean, plain and simple, they just don't like the spinoff. Period.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen.
Let's be real.
Go ahead, Travis. What's your take on it? Right.
So if let's say that just deer in general, right? The CEO himself sees it. When he sees that Juan Deere playoff, do you think he thinks, "Hey, that's not funny because I actually did move a manufacturer to Mexico"?
Right.
Or do you think he laughs and says, "Hey, damn, that's pretty good. They got me." I'm pretty sure it's the first one because it's a truth, and oftentimes we don't like to hear the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, and you saw my video. We'll get into that here in a minute too, I guess. But that's like when I first got that cease and desist. The response I gave you was short, sweet, and to the point because I was like, I just know I'm going to say something I shouldn't.
Right.
And I talked to my wife about it when she got home from work. She's a school teacher, and I said, "Hey," I was like, "we're going to cease and desist from John Deere." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, they don't like it, and they want us to take it down. They think we're copyright infringement, etc." And I was, of course, irate about it. I was like, this has nothing to do. It's not anything like their stuff. The jumping animal, the green and yellow is a different color anyway. And then I was like, not only that, but they say a jumping animal. This is clearly a kicking donkey, not a jumping animal.
Get your back straight.
I was like, how many times has somebody went deer hunting and shot a damn donkey on accident and been like, "Oh, I confused it"?
Yeah.
Nobody. And so that's why I was like, I'm not seeing the correlation here. And I'm just going down this rabbit hole. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to make an educated, well-spoken video, not an emotional one, tomorrow. And we'll go from there. And so we looked into the whole legality of it. And of course, when we posted it, we didn't really expect a whole lot of, we kind of expected to be like a normal video. People laugh about some stuff. And of course, you got people that get on there and they're right off the bat, they're defending you. And then you got some that are going to be against it.
Yeah.
Well, the first day was pretty normal. It went a little farther than normal, but not tremendously far. Well, every day it has just been shooting up. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of comments from these videos across TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And, it's so many of them now that I have to go on the computer because I can't figure out on the app how to get it to show me just the unresponded ones.
Yeah.
So I have to go on there to figure, because I was like, well, I don't want to leave somebody out, or somebody might actually have good advice for me on it.
Is this indirect? This is directly to your YouTube video on this is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the YouTube. Yep. Well, I put it on YouTube, I put it on Facebook, I put it on Instagram, and I put it on TikTok.
Well, and so for reference, so people can get a feel for what you're talking about here, in looking at your videos, you're averaging 1,000 to 3,000 views per video. Yeah. On this particular video, it's almost 30,000.
Yeah.
Actually, as of this morning, it's at 40. Overnight, again, it shot up on YouTube.
Okay.
Thousands. Yeah, it's at 41,000 right now.
Wow.
It keeps surging randomly in the mornings. I'm sure everybody's getting up and looking at them.
Yeah.
Well, you're breaking through a glass ceiling there, Travis, where you're bringing in people that's not necessarily from your typical fan base or gets into farming type videos. It's just kind of like how the Super Bowl gains all the contrarian type of viewers. You have a normal viewership for every NFL game, but then the Super Bowl brings in all sorts of people from all over. And your type of video, it strikes a chord with the common folk, with everyday people on so many different levels. Like you might not be interested in John Deere or tractors, but you do have a problem with corporations exploiting people, moving manufacturing, all these types of things. You've really struck a chord here with this video.
Well, and think about it another way, right? So John Deere somewhat did the same thing that I did with the shirt almost, if that's what if their copyright claim was accurate. They used all the people here to build a brand and then say, you know what, we don't need these guys anymore. I know people I got a guy that'll do it cheaper. You know how people are with that.
Mm-hmm.
They did the same thing, and then I made a shirt, and I used their basis essentially because there's people that use Deere, and they're like, I don't have a choice. I don't have any other dealers near me. It's what I have to use because I need dealer support. And I get it. Some people aren't going to especially if you've got thousands of acres to cover, you're not going to do like me and buy old equipment that you're going to have a breakdown here and there and have to stop and fix it because you're on a time crunch and you want to get it done now and you need to get it done now for maximum yield. And so some of those people really are kind of held hostage by the simple fact that they don't have any other dealer option. They have to go with them, but they absolutely hate the fact that Deere told me, hey, you can't, I know you just spent almost $1 million on this tractor. And yeah, you own the mechanical portion of the tractor, but you can't touch it without our software. And we're not going to sell you the software. You have to bring it to me.
Right.
And so stuff like that, I get that they're going to lose some money whenever they allow people to repair their stuff. However, you're really screwing somebody else over. I get that you're looking at your bottom dollar, and I understand that. But if your margins are that tight, you might have other issues. If I was sitting here looking at my farm and be like, yep, we're going to make it by this week. But, next week, if we have one flat tire, we're done. At that point, I need to look at the farm and be like, hey, what am I doing wrong? And maybe it's the brand new equipment I have. Maybe it's the fact that I spent too much on fertilizer. Maybe there's a plethora of things that are coming together, like fertilizer prices and diesel. I can understand that being a headache for farmers because I just doubled or tripled my costs on things that I normally do every year. But on a corporation, you have a financial analyst, hopefully, that is going over these numbers and looking and forecasting and saying, hey, I know there's going to be inflation every year. We're just going to automatically say it's going to cost 5% more. And then if you get a spike in inflation, yeah, I get it. You can't necessarily you can't see the future. You're not Miss Cleo, right? But you can't sit there and say that, nope, we got to nickel and dime everybody else so we can make it. If you're running your company like that, there's an internal problem. And it needs to be resolved, whether it's people taking too big of a salary. Because let's face it, if you're making, let's say that John Deere took a loss this year, right? Let's say they lost $5 million, right? Whose fault is it? Is it the leadership's fault, or is it the manufacturing fault? Or is it everybody's fault? Because let's say that the manufacturers, we'll just say for, shits and giggles, they were slacking. They were calling in sick a lot more often than normal, and, they made, 10% less product than what they were supposed to. Mm-hmm. But again, as a manager at that factory, you got to see that trend and start saying something about it and doing something about it. Whether it's getting some temporary workers in there to fill those voids for those time beings. There's all kinds of options. You can't just blame one entity.
Right.
Everybody's involved. It's a whole team.
Right. So the one thing I want to point out too on this letter, just to not completely bash John Deere, I want people to understand one other thing that they said here. It says, this is how they started it. We would like to begin by acknowledging the strong sense of community and storytelling reflected on the Farm Focus platform. It's clear that many of the brands you feature are rooted in genuine enthusiasm for agriculture, and we appreciate the care you take in supporting creators and causes within the agricultural community. So, I understand that that's a little bit of feel-good stuff, but I do appreciate that they recognize, the community and that there's a want for all this stuff. So I just wanted to touch on that. So
why don't you tell people what was on the back of the shirt? You didn't even read it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we didn't. Yeah. So the back of the shirt literally says, unlike their parts, these shirts are proudly made in the USA. And it's,
that's a dig.
I don't see why they wouldn't like that.
Come on.
If you needed proof that you're tying it to something.
Just a small dig right there. It's okay. But again, we haven't talked about that.
Back to the basis of it. Can you prove me wrong?
Right. No, you can't.
Yeah, the truth hurts, right?
And that's the thing. People don't like. I've been called short my whole life. I'm 5'6". My grandpa used to tell me all the time. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Dynamite comes in small packages." And it's like, "That's a good point, Grandpa. Good insight. Doesn't make me grow 6 inches and make me as tall as the other kids, but it's good insight."
Yep.
I can't get mad at somebody whenever they sit there and say, "Well, you're short." That's accurate.
Yeah. Well, it's because you don't have it's because you don't have enough money to control those people.
No, I guess not. Yeah, you're right. If I threw a lawsuit against them, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But one other quick thing. So, go all the way down to the bottom of that letter. Where was that law office at that they sent it from?
Well, let's see what this says. So they are in Moline, Illinois. Well, they have the Deere and Company, 1 John Deere Place, Moline, Illinois, as the address.
Yep. My point to that is, guess what? They're willing. So what that tells me is we're willing to outsource manufacturing jobs. Absolutely. We are willing to outsource them all we can.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm not willing to spend less money on? I'm not willing to spend less money on a lawyer, an American lawyer.
Right.
That's what that's the thing. I was like, how much more of a slap in the face is that? Because you know what they didn't do? They didn't say, hey, we're moving our law offices to Mexico.
True.
We're going to hire different lawyers. They didn't do that.
So
I assure you that they spend a lot more money on lawyers than they do on manufacturing.
Oh, yeah. So they've apparently this is such a problem for them that the email address that we have to respond to is tmmolinenforcement@johndeere.com.
So they have a
TM
group?
meaning trademark. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Trademark molinenforcement@johndeere.com. They have an email address specifically for that to keep all that stuff.
So someone's job is this, like literally.
Oh, yeah. Probably multiple
Probably a
people's
team.
jobs. Yeah.
When they had to tread lightly,
there's several of them.
when they were getting a hold of Farm Focus, because a number of your guys as creators and influencers are John Deere guys.
Yeah.
So like they really had to.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure they wanted to give you a pat on the back there.
Yeah.
It was more of a we have to.
Right,
We got
right,
some
right.
big John Deere guys.
But let's
It's one of those things. If you serve up a compliment with, let's say a grain of truth, it's easier to swallow it.
Right.
so let's talk about this. So like then we're taking the shirt down,
So
we don't.
Yeah, we want to ask
We-
Travis what his plan is, but I want to give my perspective as farm focused. Look, I get it, John Deere. Okay, you don't like that we've got a picture of something that kind of resembles yours. I understand protecting your imagery and these kinds of things. I get all that.
Poor John Deere. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, the thing is that this is just in good fun, and this is American people making American dollars, not even making a lot of dollars, because by the way, U.S. made shirts are freaking expensive.
Yeah.
So we're just doing this. We're just having a good time. It's in response to something that you did anyway. Like we're not saying like we're not just making something up.
You're not the dog. You're not the tail wagging the dog here. Yeah. But I will say, let's put this caveat in there. As soon as you hit that $27 million mark as your annual income, Ben, then we need to reel it in.
Well, probably. Let's put that on the table. As soon as we hit that 27 million, we'll reel it in. So what, Travis? What's your plan, man? Like how you want to move forward with this?
So, realistically, I believe that we were covered under parity law. And in a nutshell, it means that, so like Weird Al Yankovic, right? Prime example. That dude made parodies off of all kinds of songs.
Yeah.
Right? And I will give him this. He did reach out to them, like the owner of the song, for instance, and say, hey, I want to make a parody, right? I'll give him that. But you know what? The difference is that if I reached out and said, hey, John Deere, I want to make a Juan Deere shirt because you want to move, they absolutely will not be okay with that. They'd be like, no, that
right.
You're not on board with you.
Right, yeah.
And so I say all that because look at other, so like, for instance, the piss on Ford stickers, piss on Chevy, like you got them all for everything, right? It used to be a common thing when we were all in high school.
Calvin and Hobbes.
If I drove a Chevy, and I'd have a piss on Ford and a piss on Dodge sticker on the back of my Chevy, right? Is that copyright infringement or is it a parody?
Right.
There's so many ways that, I get what John Deere was saying. It is similar, but that's the joke. And if you don't like it, right? Because think about it like this: if I spend $150,000 to buy a new 100 horsepower John Deere tractor, and then I go and look at the made, the data plate that says where it's made, and it says Mexico or Taiwan, wherever, right? I'm going to feel a little bit like I just bought a tractor off a Temu. I didn't get what I paid for. I paid for the workers in Moline or Waterloo to build this tractor for me, have a quality product that was made in the United States as an American company, and then I'm using it here on my farm in America. That's what I paid for. But that's not what I got. And there's too many people that just simply don't know John Deere doesn't make that much stuff here.
Yeah.
They really don't. And they're not the only company that's guilty of it. Right. I'm not gonna sit there and sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Harley's guilty of it. Carhartt. There's all kinds of companies that are guilty of it. But the difference is that John Deere can be a leader and fix it and say, look, you know what, we were wrong, we're moving it back. And I get the manufacturing in global markets too. Like I understand that to an extent they're going to have to, but what would be wrong with making, let's say, your North American products, so like any tractors that they're selling in Canada, Mexico, and the United States, what would be wrong with having manufacturer facilities here in the United States to make those? But then the ones that they're selling overseas in, let's say, Europe or China or wherever else, have manufacturers over there for that. That's fine.
Right,
I could understand that, and I wouldn't even argue with it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get behind the idea of. I just can't get behind the idea of an American company turning their back on them, and then everybody can complain about it. Well, I have a little bit of a platform that I can at least speak out about it and hope to see, like, other people will see, like, okay, I'm not the only one that feels this way. Hey, maybe John Deere will get the message. And people have tagged John Deere multiple times in the videos. No response from John Deere.
Right.
Yeah.
And realistically, I don't think they will respond, because what are they going to say other than, my gosh, we did go after a veteran. We did go after an American-made product. After we want people to buy, John, like, we want people to buy American products. We just don't want to make American products. We don't want to pay to make an American product.
Well, and that's where I thought that's where I thought you were going with it is, we're buying this tractor, or even let's say the John Deere hat. They're selling it with the idea of, okay, I'm supporting a guy in Waterloo, Iowa, or a manufacturer in Waterloo, Iowa. Yep. And that's the beauty of what you're doing here with Farm Focused is when you buy one of your products, I think a lot of that manufacturing's in California. With the textiles and but still you're supporting a factory in California, America, and workers in the United States. And that's where, and there's no margin or very little margin, but we're doing it more of a just supporting our own or supporting an American type of worker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like even like I've responded to people, I make $1 off of those shirts. I purposely make it to where I'm not getting rich off of them by any means. I don't even sell enough to get rich anyways. Mm-hmm. But if my philosophy was truly, like I said in the video, look, I fought for this country. I love the people here, and I want to support them. I can support them like they've supported me in my military service easily by manufacturing shirts in the United States. It's printed in Nebraska right there at Farm Focus. The shirt's made in the United States, whether it's California, North Carolina, whichever shirt you're getting, it's somewhere in the United States, it is being made. And then it's being printed in Nebraska, and then it's being sent to your doorstep. I don't do that because it's lucrative. I do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's truly the right thing to do. And if you, as a company, can't get the idea that, nope, I got to make billions of dollars a year for my shareholders, then if that's your philosophy, that's fine. But it's not going to change the character and moral that I have and the way that I'm going to move ahead with it. Because patriotism isn't just, hey, I believe in everything the United States does. Because there's times that we got to look at it and be like, that may not have been the right move.
Sure.
It's okay. We can still talk about it and say, hey, we need to regroup. That was not well thought out. However, whenever you just have it like, no, hey, that's what we said we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. And just put blinders on. Like, I don't care who it hurts. I don't care who it affects. I'm making my $27.93 million this year or more. And that's what I care about. That's a problem. And that's not a leader. That's just somebody that got put into a position to make the company more money.
Yeah.
A leader is not, just because you're in a position doesn't mean that you're a leader. It means that you're filling a position, but it doesn't mean that you're actually going to fulfill the real true responsibilities of that position.
Those folks at the top, making those decisions, they're so far out of touch with, the folks on the ground level who are actually using this stuff, and I mean, shit, just a month or two ago, we went to that Classic Green event, Gathering of the Green. Mm-hmm. And this is just John Deere freaking lovers, man. And right there in Iowa and Illinois, I mean, people love this stuff, man, at the ground level. And when they do things like this, it really rubs people the wrong way,
Well, and what I was getting at is there's an element of like bait and switch. Like even with a John Deere hat, like I'm saying, you're just assuming you're buying Americana, all those things, and then you look at the tag and it's like Taiwan or whatever. You're like, oh man, and then there's also an image in your head. It's like, well, then that hat shouldn't have been $45 if it came from Taiwan.
Oh, no.
And for Travis and us, I mean, we literally, like, if we were trying to sell a John Deere logoed shirt, I get it. That would be taking sales away from
absolutely.
their logo shirts, right?
Right.
But this is something completely different. So we've been talking this week and kind of messing around with the design and things like that. We're talking about a change on it. What do you think we're gonna do? You think we're gonna switch over to this other one? We change some colors and see what happens, or what do you think the move is?
I'm thinking we put both up, and that way, if they possibly they do have a suit. I mean, I don't see it from everything I've looked at and understood in it. But I will also say this to John Deere as a counter. Move your production back to the United States, and that shirt will go away completely.
Yeah, they ain't going to do that.
Okay.
I mean, look, if you did that, I have nothing. Because then at that point, when I put those out, that is, one, it's bashing them because they're not doing that anymore. Two, it would be blasphemy because it's not truth, right? So at that point, I would say, yeah, you're right. I don't have a leg to stand on.
What if we found a manufacturer in Mexico and we just had them start making them and shipping them?
Okay. Yeah, right? Okay.
Yeah. Then it could come from the source.
Yeah.
I say the funny thing is, like, would really sell that is if it's a little facility that's right there across from their Deere manufacturing. They could send it. They throw one in every tractor that they put out.
Yeah. There you go. That'd be perfect. Freebie. Man.
Oh, man.
Well, I don't really know where else we go with this. I just wanted folks to know.
Stay tuned, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Understand what's going
tuned
on.
it.
We're definitely going to be
As of
updating.
right now,
watch Travis's YouTube video because he's going to be talking about it.
I say, as of right now, I want to stand firm on that ground because I don't think they have a case. I think, like I said, with parity law, it's pretty well protected. And, the other thing behind it is if I have to get a lawyer to lawyer up and do this, right? Like we all said before, money is going to be the answer.
Yep.
And needless to say, when you're making $1 off of a shirt, and I don't even know how many I sell in a year, but it's not many. It's less than 500 shirts across the whole thing, I'm sure.
Right.
And so at that point, is John Deere going to win in that aspect? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop me from it. Just all it does is it takes that away. There'll be a new shirt that comes out that replaces it.
Right.
And it may be even less flattering for John Deere than the current one.
Right.
I mean, it's just a matter of how far do you want to push it, right? If John Deere really is that, into it and says, nope, this is ruining our brand, I can promise that shirt is not ruining their brand. The right to repair, that probably hurt.
Oh, yeah.
That hurt way more than these shirts ever could.
Yep. And the thing is with these shirts is like people who look at them, they already know. That's why they like the shirt. They're like, oh, yeah, those bastards, I know what they did. It's not like they look at the shirt and they're like, oh, I just learned that John Deere did this.
Sell my fleet. I'm moving to Case IH now.
Well, and that's the other thing. Are people really going to switch? Because like I said, there's people that don't have a choice. Like they're like, I have to have dealer support for what I do, and that's fine. It's understandable.
Yep.
You can draw that parallel, too. Where John Deere's.
I'm not mad at anybody for running John Deere equipment.
Yeah.
Zach runs it. I don't have any problems with them. That's just what they do, and that's okay. That works for them. They don't have to run 40-year-old equipment like I do. It's probably best that they don't.
Right. Well, it just comes down to some of these things like this where, we are the people who are supporting that brand, and they turn around and in so many ways they do things that go against those people.
Yeah.
When it comes down to things like right to repair, not allowing farmers to have access to the software in their tractor or whatever else they need to fix it themselves. It comes down to things like these stupid trademark infringements or whatever, which it's not even. It's just it rubs you the wrong way, and it makes you feel like, guys, come on, man. Like, I want to love you.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
It's a great American company, great American brand.
Yeah. You're just making it hard for me,
Yeah. And I mean, it absolutely still can be. I mean, anyway, let me get one thing straight. Like, they don't make bad tractors. Like those, the 9R, the 8Rs, like they're good tractors. Like, I mean, I couldn't afford one, but like in general, let's say that I won millions of dollars. or I got a lawsuit from John Deere and they settled by giving me an 8R, I take it.
Oh,
It's not a bad tractor.
right.
I'm just saying that in general, they don't make bad products. They just need to get better at supporting what started their company,
right,
and actually get back to their roots.
Right.
That's all. I truly mean it. If they really said that, like if I countered offered and said, look, if you move all your shit back to the United States and make it here, and that's sure to go away, I mean it. Like, that sure to go away. And I'll even make a video saying, like, showing what they've done and showing how they're doing good things and they're realizing that they made a mistake.
Give this guy a tractor.
No,
give him a tractor. Travis needs a tractor.
Send some tractors to Missouri.
Let's go.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think they can hold a candle to my house.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some videos of it. It's pretty wild.
Well, you got to be... back then they let you, if you wanted to run a tractor, you could. There was no sensor. They might put a light on saying, hey, there's no oil pressure.
Right.
It doesn't stop you.
Yeah.
You can keep running it.
Yeah. Well, they can't remote into it and shut it off. That's for sure.
No, they absolutely cannot. That's the other funny part. Even if, even if it lost a GPS signal, it'll still keep driving. It'll just run into stuff, I guess.
Yep. Well, thanks for your time, man.
Yeah.
We took a little more time than we planned on this morning, but I appreciate you sticking with us.
Not a problem.
We just want folks to understand, get a taste of what's going on out there, and then just kind of follow along to see how this all unfolds. It may work out. It's probably not going to. Deere will probably come in and just double down. And
was there like a timeline, like a follow up, like they said right now? Did it say by May 1st?
It didn't say, yeah.
All right.
But it's expected to be pretty quick. So we'll be making some decisions over the weekend. We'll be talking a little bit more about it and what we're going to do. We've already made a couple of moves on the website in regards to some of the other stuff that they pointed out. Yeah. But the Juan Deere stuff in particular is where the hang up is. So
okay,
just do some new color coding. Change from
that's part of what we've done. So
yellow.
That's some of the stuff we're looking at. Yeah.
What about purple and pink? Oh, kidding.
I was trying to find this comment on here, but the funniest comment that I got out of the whole situation was a guy that I can't find his name on here now, but he literally said, "Hey, change it to say." Make another shirt in response to it and make it say pursue and persist.
Yeah.
And I need to go through there and find that guy because I told him, I was like, now you're onto something. I like this. This might be a thing. But I don't think that, I think John Deere can see that there's going to be, bad PR from it. And, news channels, nothing like that's been involved by any means, but it's not hard to get news channels involved, and like that PR doesn't just random people that see it on the algorithm. That's everybody. So like when you broadcast something like that, let's say in Iowa, right? All those people that work at that facility, but you don't think they're already disgruntled with the idea of moving their manufacturing? Because like all they're waiting for is like, when's it going to be us? If they move that one, how much longer until it's us?
Right.
And so like you could easily get everybody in a frenzy over it, and I don't want to. I'm not trying to fearmonger by any means. I just want people to realize that, if they didn't care about those jobs, they didn't care about yours either. And it's a matter of time. And you can easily publicize this to make it way worse for John Deere than they want. Because how detrimental would it be to them if the rest of their employees all of a sudden was like, you know what, it might be us next. Let's just go on strike. Or, those are huge things that are detrimental to a company that can easily bring them to their knees. But I don't want a company to suffer because there's also going to be innocent people that, let's say they can't go on strike because they can't afford to. Like, I get it. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, but that does go back to the company too. We saw that with Anheuser-Busch a while ago where they started playing what about the distribution guys? They get paid by the delivery. Well, that's back on you as well. You made your product so undesirable, a number one selling brand for well over 20 years. And now you're going to put that back on the people too? Shut up. You just doubled down on me not wanting to buy a Bud Light. And what you're laying out here, Travis, John Deere has a couple big decisions to make here in the next couple of years. And I hope they go the wrong way. And I hope the pressure that you're applying and Farm Focus and having a little fun with some trademark law, hopefully that will help them form the correct decision. Maybe backtrack a little bit on some of the moves they made that put them in this spot to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really the goal here. I want people to be aware of it. don't stop buying John Deere just because, because you're like, oh, well, this YouTuber, he says don't buy it. Like, that's not the intent. You got to do what's right for your company or your farm or company or whatever you're using it for. Don't just go willy-nilly and like, yep, that's it. We're switching over and sell the whole fleet and buy case like you were talking about.
Right.
Real quick here before we let Travis go here, I just got to say I appreciate and I love the fact that you're just out in Missouri on the farm working. I just heard I think a power drill there. We've been hearing the larks and the birds chirping. There's as far as Common Folk and the Farm Focus brands. I
thought it was
you heard the birds outside. And
Definitely heard that.
But did you just go in a door that squeaked?
No, I opened the door. I was looking for my flip-flop.
Oh, okay, see? You thought it was, okay. I thought it was.
I swore I heard a turkey earlier. I don't know.
Ironically enough. Well, you did. That was Mr. Pickles.
Okay, all right. There you go.
Holy crap.
Mrs. Pickles is there too. She's just quieter.
Okay.
So ironically, the whole time we've been recording this, we have a 12-foot by 18-foot American flag on a telephone pole right here in front of our house. I've actually been sitting here most of the time watching it.
Awesome.
I don't have the largest flag in our county, but I'm gonna eventually.
That's a big one.
Yeah, sounds huge.
Well, it doesn't
thanks,
get
Travis.
any more Americana than this.
No.
So
this
John
is
Deere,
great.
we got you. We're more Americana than John Deere.
I know you guys are, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you all putting in the hard work too and making all those shirts. Because I know it's not simple. I know it's easy to mess that up.
For sure,
I
man.
definitely could.
No, we appreciate you trusting us with your brand, and we appreciate everything that you've done. Congratulations on your retirement coming up. It's pretty awesome. Getting the opportunity to invest a little bit more time in the farm. If folks want to check out the Juan Deere shirt, by the time this comes out, it may or may not still be there. You have to go check. But if you want to look, it's on farmfocused.com. Look for the Freedom Farms brand, or you can go direct to farmfocused.com/freedom-farms, and you'll see the full line there. There may be something different. There may be a change. There may be both. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. Well, have a great weekend.
Thanks, Travis. We appreciate it, man.
Too.
All right.
Yep, have a
we'll
great
talk
day,
to you
guys.
later.
Bye.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
What's that?
That
was great.
Now I'm curious. I want to fast forward in 2 weeks, see what's going on.
Yeah. What the heck are we going to do? What are we going to do? Have you been talking to our designers or what?
Man, yeah, we've got some different designs put together, and like I said before, like I get it. I understand what John Deere's trying to do and what they're trying to protect, but I also understand what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's
exactly.
And I don't like it.
They're trying to snuff you out, shut you up.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, I mean, we're not being rude by saying that. He's like a small little grain of sand in their big world of trying to come take people down. I mean, are we serious right now? This was like...
It really says more about, I don't know if it's guilt, but they know it's a problem.
Yes.
And they got to nip it in the bud right away.
And
you see the meme and the correlation a lot. They trace stances like this or instances like this back to that movie A Bug's Life. Where the guy says, "What's the problem? It's just one ant," and that grasshopper goes, you let one ant go, it's thousands. You can't allow that firestorm to start. You got to squash this ant right now, like you said. This one piece of sand.
It's just it seems so little. Like we're just a little peon in their big old John Deere world.
Morgan, we're the common folk.
I know, but I just feel like it's crazy that
the other thing we didn't talk about with Travis because it was separate, but on that letter, the other thing that they're mad about is this brand on our site that's called Deere Detailer. So this guy's name, that's his social media handle is Deere Detailer because he details tractors, right? So he does videos of detailing tractors and these kinds of things. He's in Canada. It's been a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
he gets some form of brain cancer. Decides I want to start a merchandise line, and every single dollar from that merchandise line is going to go to this facility where he's getting his treatment for their research. So we say, all right, man, we'll help you. So we launched the site, we put everything together. So they don't like that. They don't like the name.
Yeah.
On the shirts, on a couple of them, have a picture of a John Deere tractor because that's what he cleans.
Sure.
So I kind of understand that. Like, don't have pictures of our tractors on your shirt.
His business is taking care of your equipment.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
And honestly, that guy is like he's bringing goodwill to John Deere. With that stuff.
A third party
And yeah, he's donating all the proceeds. Like, are we kidding?
So that's the other one that's coming down off of the site.
Ouch.
Yeah. And I talked to him about it. And like I said, he's in Canada, and he's like, man, I'm sorry to hear this. I'm sorry that you had to get wrapped up in this. You're like, just a nice guy.
Super nice guy.
And he's like, but, we'll do what we have to do, and we'll take it down, and you just let me know how much the Cancer Foundation earned,
God dang.
Yeah. It's just wild, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's wild.
It's tough.
Big money. We're messing with big money.
But that's making them money.
I know,
and
but
giving them goodwill, free of charge.
I never
throw that money around.
Predicted that, like, getting involved in small business, how many different legal battles I would have.
Oh yeah. We talked about the other one. What's the status on that one?
Like, you get this. We got someone
online.
trying to sue us because our website isn't accessible. They
for
call
the blind.
It. Yeah, which, by the way, ended up being almost a complete scam.
I was going to say that's so hoaxy.
Yeah,
okay.
so hoaxy. It was like they were just taking like this huge fishing net and casting it over thousands and thousands of websites and just seeing which one will come in. Yeah, which one will come back. The lawyers wanted me to pay $15,000 to respond to that.
Yeah, you can always ask for $15,000.
I told them, I said, we've got one option, and it's spend nothing on this because we have no money to spend on this and hope that they don't come back to us.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Of course not.
At least not yet.
Well, a lot of times when you work or you do business, you're going to get caught up in some legal battles, unfortunately. And my father got caught up in a big one where they bought this expensive, cutting-edge piece of equipment, and then it crapped out less than a year later. So they tried to return it. Nope, can't do that. Okay, well, we're going to sue you for just the amount that thing cost. That company turned around and said, okay, but we're going to countersue you for 10x. I was like, well, what do you do now? Oh my God, he was so stressed out, and that, it strung out and took a couple of years, and who knows, it put him in a bad state. Yeah. And you don't think of that. It's like, we're just trying to do the right thing, and all we're asking for is the same piece of equipment, just fix it.
Yeah.
Or send us a new one, whatever.
Right.
Their response is, well, we're going to just countersue you 10x. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's wild. It's wild, man. It's a crazy, crazy business world out there, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, if anybody's interested, go check out Freedom Farms on YouTube, see what Travis was talking about, see what he's got going on. I mean, an American soldier right there, getting it done.
There is hope for us common folk, and a relevant, we're talking about social media and influence like that, Afro Man. Have you guys been tuned into this?
No.
He won a lawsuit, and it's getting a lot of buzz.
Afro Man? What's
Man.
The lawsuit?
Well, it's a long story.
Okay.
But that will be our next thing that we talk about, because it is fascinating. It is crazy.
Okay.
It's out there. It's it's on brand for what we stand for.
Okay.
But,
all right.
We'll check it out.
I think he's onto something with Travis, with maybe calling their bluff and saying, okay, take me to court. That's the last thing they want to do, because it could be an Afro Man blow up in your face type of deal.
You would think.
I think Travis could get the news on him too. Like he said, if he needed to.
Well, Travis is a very driven individual, and when he gets his mind set on something that he thinks is right and wrong, he's going to go after it.
Dude, he's a drill sergeant. Didn't we have him on that podcast?
Yeah.
Go come on, say what you would say. Didn't he
We might have, I don't remember.
I feel like, or maybe I just felt like he needed to, but do you want to get yelled at from a drill sergeant?
I don't.
Heck no.
I don't.
I definitely want to stay on the right side. Yeah, that original, the first time we had him and his wife Chrissy on, Chrissy Linden, it was drill sergeant, churn farmer, meet Travis Linden of Freedom Farms. If you want to go back and learn more about
what's the
Freedom
number
Farms.
on it?
I honestly don't know the number.
Oh, it wasn't numbered.
It was back in 2022. So further proof that we've been at this for a while.
Yeah,
right. All right. Well, I guess that's that for now. You guys got anything else?
No, that's it.
No. All right.
Peace.
I'm going to shut it down.
Later.
See ya.
This episode sponsored by Maximus Tribe. You train, you track, you eat right. But if you're over 40, you've felt it. The results don't match the effort anymore. That's not willpower, it's biology. Hormones drop, metabolism slows, your body stops responding the way it used to. Maximus is the online clinic that reverses your decline with prescription performance medicines, GLP-1s, testosterone, and peptides that reduce belly fat, restore energy, and boost recovery. Over 50,000 high performers have already broken through their plateaus. If you're ready to turn your hard work into measurable results, go to MaximusTribe.com. That's MaximusTribe.com.